Welcome back everybody to another MOTOBOB video, and this week Norton announced a whole bunch of new special edition bikes to celebrate their 125th anniversary, and to me they look fantastic. We've got a real range of different finishes available here, each celebrating a different milestone in the company's history, and so in this video we'll go through each of them and tell you absolutely everything that you need to know. Now we'll start with the Commandos, which are their retro-styled parallel twins. It's a thumping air-cooled engine that makes around 76 horsepower, and while that might not sound like a great deal, it does it with real mid-range and grunt, and also a sweet sound at the exhaust. It really does have a super old school feel to it, which I really liked, but then also at the same time you've got a top spec chassis with components from the likes of Öhlins and Brembo, and that gives it a beautiful ride quality and also decent stopping power, so all round a very memorable ride. Now as for these limited editions, well, first up we've got the Enet, and this bike gets a deep yellow paint job, brown leather saddle, alloy yokes, a natural alloy finish on the engine, a silver headlight, polished alloy handlebars, and polished Öhlins suspension. On top of that, you've got a color-matched seat cowl, and that gets the 125th anniversary crest on the top and also the limited edition logo. And they say this entire finish is all in reference to the first ever Norton created, called, of course, the Enet. Now, it's built by James Lansdowne Norton in 1902, produced for 4 years until 1906, and it used a 142cc engine from Clement through a 2-speed gearbox from Sturmey Archer. So of course things have moved on quite a bit in terms of performance, but it's a nice tribute to the starting point of Norton's journey, and I particularly like that proper old school Norton logo there on the fuel tank. Now next up, the Manx, as a tribute to what they say is one of the most successful racing motorcycles ever built, partly owing to its longevity, with it being introduced in 1937 and then produced right up to 1962. Not only did the Manx claim victory in 13 Isle of Man TT races, but also kept competing every year until the 1970s. So this Manx edition gets the iconic silver fuel tank and then black on the bodywork and frame, and I think this is pretty much what most people think of when they hear the word Norton. As for the details, well, there's a black engine, black footrest, black yokes, and black Öhlins suspension, as well as a carbon fiber chain guard and carbon fiber fly screen. And again, with this one, there's the color match seat cowl, the 125th year anniversary crest, and the limited edition logo. Very nice indeed, this one. Now the next bike is called the Transatlantic, and it references their 750 Works race bike, which they say claimed victories in the British 750cc Championship, the F750 Isle of Man TT, and the Transatlantic Trophy, which is of course where this limited edition gets its name. So this one gets red, white, and blue on the fuel tank, on the airbox, on the seat unit, and on the seat cowl. And like the Manx, it gets black on the engine, the footrest, and the yokes. And again, you've got the crest and logos on that seat cowl. Now moving on to the 80s and 90s, the Norton F1 was the road legal version of their super successful 588cc rotary race bikes. So the RC588, the RCW588, and the NRS 588 claim victories in both British superbikes and at the Isle of Man TT, and so the livery typically worn by these bikes is part of this 588 special edition with the black base color and the bold stripes. Then on the hardware you've got the black engine, the black footrest, the black yokes, the black Öhlins suspension, the carbon chain guard, and the carbon fly screen, but on top of all that, an extra pop of bling with some gold rims, which personally I really do like. Now in addition to this bike, you've also got a couple more in this 588 finish. So firstly, their V4SV, which is their much more modern sports bike, V4 powered of course, and they say it's good for 185 horsepower, and it's a beautiful thing to look at with loads of carbon bodywork and hand polished aluminium, and the hardware is top spec as well with Öhlins suspension and Brembo radial brakes. Tech is also up to date with a 6-inch color TFT, there's keyless ignition, a quick shifter, and an inertial measurement unit that powers lean sensitive traction control as well as ABS and wheelie control. Honestly, this bike already looked pretty epic to me, either in the silver or carbon finish that was already available, but this 588 might now take the top spot. It really suits the paint job BeMoToBOB, and the gold wheels from OZ Racing look perfect with it too. Very, very cool, and so I'm looking forward to checking this out on their stand at Motorcycle Live next week, where they'll actually be showing all these bikes in person. I'll put a link down in the description to where you can buy tickets. Now, also in this 588 lineup, you've got the CR version of this bike, so that stands for Cafe Racer, and so naturally the fairing is gone and there's a round headlight plus a slightly shorter tail section. The 588 version of the V4CR also gets the black paint, the stripes, the gold wheels, and so nice looking too, but I still think the SV is always going to be difficult to beat. Now, I'm guessing you wouldn't expect these limited editions to be cheap, so it's £18,999 for the Commando versions, but the V4CR 588 and the V4SV 588 come in at an astonishing £49,999 and £51,999 respectively. That is some price, but it's worth keeping in mind that just 125 of this whole collection will ever be built, and the V4CR specifically will come out of the 200 total production run of that bike, so very limited indeed. Worth it? Well, I can think of plenty of other ways to spend 50 grand, but for the right collector, these will probably hit on a very powerful nostalgic note. As always though, I'd love to know what you think of them, so do let me know down in the comments below. Also, I've got a full review of the latest version of the Commando, which I shot at the UK press launch last year, so I'll put that on the screen now so you can give it a click and give it a watch. Do hit subscribe as well if you've not already to see more of the latest motorcycle news right here on YouTube. Many thanks for watching today, and we'll see you in the next one.